Hi again guys, how's all doing? So I've got a mallard here and it's a lovely blue livery. This is a Trix Mallard. It's the first time I've ever looked at anything by Trix. This was sent to me by a chap called Dave, and he said it makes a bit of a racket and that the front bogie tends to derail quite easily. Let's just see how this runs. Turn on the power. Jings. Well, that to me sounds like a horrible mechanism more than any sort of problem, but we'll get it into the shed and off to the bench and we'll have a look at it out of curiosity as much as anything else. Okay then, a Trix Mallard, not something you see every day. It's quite a heavy thing this. Let's just see what this thing weighs because it's a fairly weight. 692 grams. So although it's quite heavy, it's a plastic body shell, but the motor and the tender, yeah, looking forward to getting a look in there to see what's going on. Looking at the wheels here, yeah, the rods are all a bit bent. It's all a bit crude, I think is the only word I can use to describe how this is put together. This wheel here, that's the right hand front wheel, has got a traction tyre on it. Why would you have a traction tyre? I can only guess they use the same wheel set on the locomotive driven models, because you don't need a traction tyre when all the power is in the tender. There's traction tyres in those wheels there, but these wheels will just be picking up, but that one will not be picking up very well if it's got traction tyre on it. There's this wire connecting the motor and the tender to the pickups in the locomotive, and it's coming out a hole drilled right at the top of the cab there. I mean, I think that's how it's meant to be, but that is so unsightly. Looking on the underside, because that's die cast, yeah, it'd be kind of difficult, possibly, to route the wire through any other way, the way this is built. So I don't think I'm going to mess around with that. I think we'll just leave that, even though it is very unsightly. Even if they'd routed the wire down at the bottom here, so the wire was coming across, just down at the bottom, that would have been okay, and use two black wires. But having a big red and black wire linking the two, it's like the old 0-1 conversions. But the noise this thing was making, to me, just sounds like a really rubbish mechanism. And looking at, we've got two drive gears here. It's going to be very interesting to get a look inside this to see how it's put together and how it works. So, without further ado, I think we'll just get into it. So there's a little screw at the front of the tender there, because I want to get a look inside the tender first. It's going to come off, yes it does. Of course can't get it right off because of the wire. Oh my word. So it's quite a large motor. Does this come off? Yep it does, right. So there we are. There's quite a large 3-pole motor in there. Blimey. I really want to get this wire out. Let's just have a look and see if we can get a bit more into the tender. There's a couple of screws here. Undo these. Two different lengths, one long one, one short one. The long one goes at the front. Does that lift off? Yes, it does. So that lifts off. And then we've got two drive gears. Do these wheels just lift out? Yep, they do. That. So we've got a drive shaft, is the drive gear, we've got two bearings, the worm gears. Does this just lift out? Yes, it does. So now we've got the drive shaft out and these wheels out. Be interested to see how loud this thing is. Let's just try a battery on the locomotive wheels. Yeah, it's still pretty. Still pretty loud. Just out of interest, let's get a bit of oil down the back of that back bearing. A little bit of oil down there. Some oil in there. So I'm just trying to get some lubrication into this just to see if that's going to quieten it down any. Okay, it has a bit. Yeah, a bit quieter. Still loud though, but I don't think there's going to be any avoiding it. It's a bit of a beast of a motor. I think we could maybe take the brushes out, give the commutator a clean, but I don't think that's going to make an awful lot of difference to how the thing runs. Let's just get some gear oil on those gears. Right, I want to get this tender body off because it's annoying me. So we'll just hook that back on just now. Take this screw at the front. That then lifts up like that. And we've got a big weight in the body and a big weight on top of the chassis there. So there's the pickups. Black goes to the chassis, red goes to pickups. Okay, we'll clip them off and then we can get that unhooked. Or can I? Yes, I can. Put that aside, that'll then come out. And we can get that off. There, that's better. If I undo this screw, it should take that middle gear off. Does that make any difference to the noise, disengaging that gear? So that noise is the noise of the mounted motor only. There's no gears engaged. If I slacken those screws, It's a lot quieter with these screws out, because when the screws are in, it's just holding the motor very tightly onto these brackets. So all the vibration is passed into the body of the tender. With the screws out, it reduces that transmission of the vibration. Yeah, I mean, it is a noisy motor. I don't think there's any getting away from it. And I just don't think there is much can be done about it. I don't know anything about Trix at all, but it's saying made in Western Germany. I mean, it's actually quite robustly put together, but it's it's a bit crude, and I'm afraid it's just going to be noisy. It's one of the brushes out. Get the other one out. They come out quite easy, but they might be a bit fiddly to get back in. We'll give the commutator a clean. How easy is it going to be to get these things back in? Like that thing lift out, and that will let me do that. I have to do the other one. Magnet's plenty strong enough, so don't need to remagnetize it. Yeah, I don't think there's much more I can do to that. I've cleaned the commutator. I've given it all an oil. We could maybe try some thicker oil in the bearings actually. Maybe try and get a tiny wee bit of gear oil into the bearings. Righto, okay, let's have a look at the drive shaft to see if this bearing comes off. Yes, it does. There's a little thrust bearing there as well. I'll give this a scoosh actually. And the two drive wheels, got traction tyres on them. Just give the gears a bit of a scoosh. Let's get some nice sticky oil on there and on the worm gear. And that just plonks in there like that. Wheel will go there. Wheel will go there. Drive wheel will go there. Just like that. It's all very simple. Okie dokie. That's that pretty much done. This goes on like that. Well, let's have a look at this. So this rod here is hitting the top of the crank pin, and it's the crank here needs to be bent. It's absolutely covered in fluff. Alright, I think we need to undo this. Just so we can get all the fluff off it. Alright, so we've got all the fluff off that. There's not really much to hold this crank in position other than the screw. It really wants to come out a bit. Yeah, I don't like that at all. It's kicking, that middle crank pin is kicking. That's hitting there. Let's bend that out a bit. I think this is the worst quality rods I've ever seen. It's just all over the place. Right, okay. I want to get a look at the these axles. Oh my. Okay. So at the front we've got two bearings or bushes. In the middle here with what looks like a piece of paper stuffed in. We've got a single long bush and the same there. A It just doesn't make any sense at all. I'm not going to mess around with that. I think we'll just leave it alone. Does that go that way? It goes this way. We'll put it back. Another problem that Dave talked about was the front bogie derailing. It's a strange configuration. We've got a piece of metal, screwed to the chassis that holds it in place, and like a sort of a copper spring underneath it. But you can see there, see all the paint scraped off there? That's just where this has been rubbing. I think. Kind of looks like it. I don't think there's much I can do to improve that. We'll give it a good run and we'll see if there's any derailing issues. Yeah, as much as I would like to reroute these wires, I'm not going to. I could end up getting into a bit of a mess. I don't want to go drilling into the body, but what I really want to do is put a hole at the bottom and run the wires through, but we'll leave it as it is, and then we'll just get this soldered up. Oh, you idiot! I've not threaded the wire through the tender hole. Oh. Jings. Right. They have to go through there. And then they go through there. I mean, this is just nuts. There we go. The pickup plate is now just popped off. There's not much holding it on. There's a single screw, and I think the screw is too short. Right. We're just going to fix this tender body on. There we are. Right. We're done. Right. Put this on the test rack and see what sort of horrible noise it makes. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, it's a growler. Let's go and stick it on the layout. Okay, you might want to turn the volume down. Out she comes. So there we are, an old Trix Mallard, which I think is running a wee bit quieter than it was to my ears. Yeah, that was a bit different, a bit of an odd mix of some really good engineering and some very poor engineering. I think these things would probably last well if they're looked after. This model anyway is pretty robust. It's a bit crude and lacking refinement, and the rods in it are awful. But it's quite a tough old model, I think. I can see any issue with the front bogie, no more than any other front bogie. They all have a tendency to jump off the track very easily. I couldn't see any problems, so I wasn't going to start messing around with it. The motor and drive mechanism just needed a good dose of lubrication, to be honest. A couple of things were done off camera. I cleaned the wheels up. The inexplicable traction tyre in the front wheel was absolutely covered in gunk. And dirty traction tyres can really affect running performance. That's something to watch out for. Make sure your traction tyres are clean. The pickup plate had a tendency to come loose because the fixing screw wasn't long enough. I fitted a longer screw and that sorted that. It's a pity about that very obtrusive wire, but I decided not to mess with this model in any way. Just keep it exactly as it was made. I mean, I can't help think of replacing the tender drive with one from a Hornby model, which would be quieter and improved pickup. But I think with old models like these, there's a lot to be said just to keep them as they were made. It actually doesn't run half bad now. It's still a bit loud and doesn't have good slow speed performance, and it's a bit stoppy-starty, but it's an old Trix model. You've got to accept it isn't going to be perfect. Right, I will get this packed up and sent back to Dave, and we'll see what's next. Catch you later, folks.